Hey health seekers, it's Kate Shemerani here, natural nurse in a toxic world. If you were to ask me who I am, if you met me for the first time, I'd probably right now say that I'm a child of God. That's who I am. And anyone who's watching all of my videos know that I'm completely transparent. I kind of don't care what you think of me. I'll only speak the truth of what I see that's happening all around. And that speaking the truth got me suspended from the nursing register, but I don't really care. I work for myself. I also work as a personal nutritionist, and I've made no secret of the fact that I believe them to be a very corrupt organisation that is just facilitating death, harm on the public. And we hide it under the guise of healthcare, but it's not healthcare. It's all about making the patient sick, keeping them sick, killing them, and charging them all along the way. And today in the news, I saw lots of stuff that was going on, and different things that were coming up about masks, about pay rises, how certain people in the public sector have been rewarded with pay rises for what they were doing during this plandemic. And it is a plandemic. It was planned. It's been proven that there was a lot of knowledge about it beforehand. I even read a document from some traders where they knew 6 months before that it was coming. And this is about economic collapse, and that's why they'd all been selling everything and buying gold. And I talked about that long ago. Then we know that it's planned because of events that were staged, which showed exactly what would happen. And then on top of that, we clearly had lots of things that were already put in place before it happened. Now that whole plandemic, scandemic, they've been selling vaccine bonds and pandemic bonds through the bank, has made the very top of society $4 billion richer. And then the working class man every day sees more and more job losses all over the world. And this is just literally going to dive off a cliff come January in the UK. So lots of these people that got pay rises for doing what? If we look at teachers, I have friends that are teachers, but they were just doing their job. And they were having to teach a small amount of kids at school from key essential workers for this plandemic that you can't catch. And then we had police officers marauding around in their vans, giving out unlawful fines, being complete bully boys. We saw all of that happen. And then we saw the nurses dancing, total vulgarity, dancing in PPE gear, which they were squealing about was in short supply, doing whole routines that took a lot of work to choreograph them and time. Doing that and being held as heroes, and many of them enjoying that status, completely narcissistic, enjoying their sudden status as the hero, the ones that would save us all. While all the time, elderly were being murdered, elderly were being sent home into care homes when they were supposed to be COVID positive. We saw cancer treatments cancelled. We saw lots of treatments cancelled. We saw patients told they weren't for resuscitation. We saw patients that were critical frailty score 6 and above told that they were going to be denied treatment. That's not care. So while all that was going on, we're told that we should wear masks. We should wear masks, and the government said that although it's proven that these masks don't stop the spread of disease, anything, Dr. Fauci, that lying liar of lies in America, said they won't stop the spread. It's about respect. Respect for who? Am I to respect my fellow man that I see queuing to eat at McDonald's, morbidly obese? Am I to respect that? I don't respect that. This vehicle that God gave me to drive around in life. I nearly broke when I was 46 years old when I had breast cancer. It was that breast cancer that changed my entire life. So going on, I had 2 patients today that I consulted through my nutrition consults. Both young women. One of them was in her 30s, one was about to be 40. Both of them were on an arm's length of drugs. And each of those drugs that they'd been given over a period of time had made them more and more sick and more dependent. Like children, looking up to these gods, these doctors that were trained in the Rockefeller system of spotting, something that was wrong and applying a drug. They don't know how to heal. Neither of these patients was told what to eat for their conditions. I'm going to go on to the second patient. Now this patient, she had to start off with a gallbladder problem. So they removed her gallbladder. No one ever said to her about how to do a gallbladder cleanse. They removed it. So she's not got a gallbladder, which means that her thyroid's not going to function properly. Yes, it's all connected. Hate to tell you, doctors and nurses that stalk me, try and badmouth me. I know what I'm doing because I know your job, but I also know my job. I know how to heal somebody. So when they'd done this, she then ended up on more drugs, and then she ended up with colitis. So they gave her more drugs for the colitis. And the list of foods that she told me that she should eat was so nutrient deficient and was so going to make her more sick. She actually said to one of the nurses who told her to eat cooked soft vegetables, well, why don't I juice them? And then they wouldn't have any of the fibre in them. And the nurse went, oh, that's a good idea. You ignorant, and you call yourself a professional, ignorant professional. That's outrageous because you don't know how to heal somebody. So she was then given more drugs, and those drugs caused her to lactate, to produce milk from her breasts. She knew that was way out and wrong. She was sent for all kinds of tests to look at her pituitary. She was given more drugs again. And then what happened next? She gets thyroid cancer. This is all within 2 years. This is a young woman, under 40, couple of young children. So she has her thyroid gland removed. They remove her thyroid gland and they put her on more medication, which completely changes her mood, her mental state. So they sent her to see a psychiatrist who said she was completely emotionally stable. But she's just rattling with drugs and being completely toxic and sick. Toxic, it's Latin. So finally, when she sees that her life's going nowhere, it's just going down the pan, she found me. And it's going to take us a good couple of years, but I know, because I've done it before, that we can work backwards and we can slowly heal her body. We can't heal her thyroid because it's gone. We can't heal her gallbladder because it's gone. So we have to manage that. But I'm really confident we can do that. Did I learn that in nursing school? No. It took for me to get cancer to work backwards. And I had surgery only. I didn't have chemo, didn't have radio, didn't have tamoxifen, didn't have Zoladex, didn't have my ovaries out. I did the natural route. And it was to change my life. So I want to go on to what's happening right now. It's really clever. It's the biggest mind control program that's going on all around the world. So clever. And if you can't see this as a global takeover, then you're well and truly in trouble. It's a global takeover. It's intended to collapse the economy, and it's intended to kill a good 7 billion people in a very short space of time. That's fact. So this is what they're having all of us believe, all of us. Now, I'm alive and well and healthy. I'm not sick at all. But they want us to believe that we're diseased, that we're going to pass on this to our fellow man. They want us all to wear a mask. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. Even though nanoparticles of virus go through a mask, raises your CO2 level, increases your risk of your own coronaviruses being active, massively increases the chances of getting a bacterial lung infection. They don't care about that. You could have hypercapnia, drop down dead on the floor, respiratory arrest. It's going to affect your mental state. They don't care about that. And the people are policing the people. The people are telling you you should wear a mask. So what they're doing is they're testing healthy people, healthy, asymptomatic. They don't have any symptoms of being sick. They're testing them everywhere with this phony test. And then they're saying, outbreak over here. These people all tested positive. We're going to shut down that food plant. We're going to shut down that meat plant. We're going to shut down that farm. It's interesting, isn't it, that it's always those kind of places. That's another part of the agenda. They want to stop the food chain. They want to make sure you are completely dependent. I'm going to come on to that soon. So what's happening is we're wearing the masks. We're being tested even though we're healthy. Everyone's looking at one another. And people are changing. They're changing how they should really feel. We're brothers and sisters in Christ. We're supposed to love one another, respect our neighbours, look out for one another. If we see someone on the ground, we help them up. But what they've done is we're no longer like that. We're no longer thinking about our fellow man. We're in survival mode. We're thinking only about ourselves. We don't care about our neighbours. No, they could be hoarding this disease, harbouring this disease that's going to sneak up and get us, and it's going to kill us. It doesn't matter that we're morbidly obese, that we do drugs, that we drink, that we don't look after ourselves, we don't exercise. No, we're suddenly so terrified that this boogeyman, COVID-19, is going to get us, it's going to kill us, and it's going to be our neighbour, our friends. Families have broken apart because of this. Friends, colleagues, neighbours. Everybody's just looking at everyone else like they're the one that's going to spread it. Not all of us. So you can protest. You can do Black Lives Matter. You can protest about you don't want to wear a mask. You can protest about anything, actually. But you can't have more than so many guests at your wedding. You can't have gatherings. You can only have so many people on your garden. You can't do any of that. You've got to do these ridiculous bubbles. It's pathetic. It's totally pathetic. It's the lying liars of lies in the government doing this complete mind control on you. You can do all those things, but you can't do the very things that make us human, make us love one another, make us gel, make us have relationships, make us strong. What's the first thing they do when they want to overthrow? You don't just go straight in and the men attack the men, because that's kind of like a battle of who's got the most strength. No, they take the children first, then the women will follow, then they take the men. And that's in the art of war. So that's what they're doing now. We're losing all our relationships. This has gone on for a long time as well in sociology. And, you know, they break up the nuclear family, then everything's unstable. Make the families belong to the state. That's what Rockefeller did. He funded the suffragette movement. Take the women, put them into work, then you can tax them. But you can take the children then. You can put the children into school and brainwash them. Whatever you want to teach them. History's whoever writes it. So then we were told, save the NHS. Save the NHS, and the nurses were put at hero status. Why do we need to save the NHS? We don't need to save the NHS, it's ours. It's there to protect the people. It's there to make the people healthy. Lots of people didn't dare go to the hospital. Lots of people were told they couldn't go to the hospital. Lots of people were told, you won't be getting treatment when you get there, so please sign this do not resuscitate, because it's illegal if they don't sign it. So that's what we were told to do. Do you see what's happening now? Amnesty International, this is really important. When they describe torture, they describe the 3 Ds. Dependency, debility, and dread. They're making us dependent on the healthcare, on the government, because we're so scared. They're making us debilitated with fear. Now we're all disease spreaders. We're all dirty, filthy. We need a mask. We need hand sanitizer. We can't be trusted. We're harbouring this disease, this virus. Incidentally, virus, but they call it a disease. Crazy. So now we dread. Dependency, debility, dread. We dread getting sick. We dread dying. We're terrified. The whole agenda, it's torture. That's exactly what it is. It's to make us like that. And it was also discussed in Amnesty International, the treatment must be so varied so the people don't know when it will end. So varied so they don't know when it will end. Now, I was trained in Becker's health belief model. The people must perceive the threat so great that they accept all treatment without question. Think about cancer treatment in oncology. That cancer treatment, they make you a hero. They say, fought a brave battle, grueling chemotherapy. They make you go up in the hero status if you have chemotherapy and fight it. Folks, you need to wake up and get your head around this. You need to not acquiesce to what's going on, because it's going to cost all of us our lives. We're only partway through. We don't know what's coming next. But it's like an abusive relationship, and we're all in it. And we're in it with our torturers. When you acquiesce to one demand, tomorrow there'll be 2. The next day, 3. I just want to leave you with that. And I'll be giving you more news tomorrow. Until then, Godspeed.